the Pro Edge sharpening system. So this is going to be a series of videos on the Pro Edge sharpening system, which I have purchased. So this episode is just going to be about the overview of the machine, telling you all the bits and pieces about it, what they do and everything like that. And then in the next few videos, I don't know how many there's going to be, it's going to be about how certain tools are sharpened on this system. So if you're interested, carry on and watching. So here you can see is a close-up of the sharpening system. What I'm going to do is start from basically the bottom of the system and work my way up through to the top of the system and explain what each individual sort of part does and how it helps you sharpen your tools. Right, so first off we have a nice solid, I think it's about a 3mm steel plate which everything is bolted onto. I have made my own little platform to raise this up so it's a nicer working height than from the bottom of this. So it's held on with a couple of bolts there, or 4 bolts to hold it all onto, and so it's nice and sturdy. So this plate here, this corresponds to a plate on the side here, and I'll explain a bit more about this plate and this plate together a little bit later on in the video. But as you can see, these white dots represent holes in the plate at the back here, and these holes give you your angles, and all those angles are represented here. I'll just zoom in a little bit for you so you can see that a bit more clearly, and that tells you what tool needs what angle. Basically doesn't necessarily mean you have to have it at that angle, because you might want a skew chisel with a 20-degree angle, but that's all corresponding there, and it's just a rough guide to what degrees you should have for each tool, really. So obviously this big black thing here is our motor. Now I'm not an electrician, I know absolutely nothing about electrics really, so there is a plate on the top of this switch which gives you all your details for all your electrical things and everything like that. And what I'll do is at the end of the video I will take a photograph of it and put the picture of it up on the end of the video, or I might even actually put it up in the corner now. Okay, so obviously this box on top of the motor is your on-off switch here. It's all protected and everything like that, I presume for water. Not that you use water on here, but you never know. Somewhere might get some water in and it might damage the switch, so that's all nicely protected. Okay, so this bar here, this is used for when you use your fingernail sharpening jig. In another video and a bit later when I show you the jig, that will be self-explanatory. Now, just to go back to this plate, now we've got a square cutout in the bottom of this plate, and I think, and it doesn't actually say in the instructions, I don't think, that this is possibly where you can possibly put a extractor on to extract the metal filings that come off of it. I don't know, but it may be just for a clearance type thing, but you could possibly cut that out, put a bit of an extraction on there, because when you do use it, the filings do go quite a distance away from the machine. So moving up the machine, we have this tool rest, flat large tool rest, we'll call that. So that's where a lot of the work is done, depending on what tool you want. I'm just adjusting the camera there. I will move it down so you can see the face of the tool rest. Just bear with me. And that's better. Okay, so in this tool rest, as you can see, we have a groove that's been milled into the tool rest, and this is for some of your jigs to slide along, and they have a piece of metal bar that goes into that groove, a nice fit, and you can use that to keep it at 90 degrees to the, or parallel to the belt, sorry, not 90 degrees, parallel to the belt. Obviously, I've got a belt on there. I have to admit, I can't remember what grip belt that is at the moment until I take it off, and it's quite a fine one. I think it's 120 grip belt, zirconium. So we move up a bit further, and obviously at the top of the machine we have this bar here and this little collar. This is to adjust your belt movement. When you first get the machine, this plate, which is here, and you can see here that it's a solid plate at the back of this belt, the instructions do say that the edge of the belt, i.e. this piece here, should be level with the edge of this side of the metal plate at the back. And this is what, if you could read it, is what this this little notice says on this plate, is that the belt should be level with the edge of this plate. I don't know why. It doesn't really explain it in the instructions, to be quite honest. But if that's what they say you need to do, that's what you say. I haven't quite gone right to the edge. I've got about a 2mm gap, I think it is. So I don't think it's really too important, to be honest. So we're going to go round to the side of the machine now and show you all the holes and everything on the side of the machine. Okay, so this arm here is attached to this tool rest, and as you can see, there is a piece of steel. This is a spanner basically, and this is used to allow the tool rest to be moved. This silver knob here, if I can move my fingers that way so you can see it, this is a pin that goes into these holes, which locate into these holes, and I'll remove this so you can see all the holes. And it's a very quick procedure to remove the plate. Okay, so that's the tool rest removed, so you can now see all the holes, I hope. So you can see you've got quite a few down the side here and a couple in the middle, and they all correspond to that plate that was on the front of the motor. And this really is a nice machined plate here. So now I'm going to put the tool rest back on so you can see how it is. And okay, Now this, I think, sorry if it's moving about, and I'll try and get you a good shot. This spanner is an excellent idea. How many times do you go to a machine where you need a specific spanner and it's never anywhere where you want it to be, and you have to find a adjustable spanner of some sort just to get by because you want to use it quickly, and you can't be really bothered to upturn everywhere to try and find your spanner. So this spanner lives all the time on the bolt that it needs to tighten and untighten, so you don't have to move it. So you've always got your spanner there, you don't have to go off and find your spanner. So it just slides off when you don't need to, or if you want to twist it with your fingers like so, and then if you need to just tighten it up, you slide it back onto the hexagonal bit like so. Try and get a good picture of it. So it just slides on, slides off, and then you can tighten it all up. So this is the pin that locates everything. It screws into this plate and just locates, and I'll take it apart, and as you can see there's a non-threaded part on there, which that non-threaded part locates into those holes, and it doesn't tighten. As you can see there's two holes on here. Oh sorry, as you can see there's two holes in this arm, and this locates in either one of them depending on what angle you do. Whoa, typical. So I'm now going to put the tool rest back on, and I'm going to set it at 45 degrees, so the pin needs to locate in there once we've screwed this. So I'm going to screw that pin in, locate it. So that pin is now in that hole, and then we're just going to screw this one in to tighten it up and make sure it's nice and secure. So I've done that with my fingers. I get my spanner and just nip it up, and it's done, and that hangs there like that. Great. So we're just going to move you up to the top. So that's the faceplate done. And now at the top of the machine. Okay. So at the top of the machine, this lever here, this is your adjustment lever to release the belt, so you can slide a new belt on and off, and then you just flick it back on and puts the tension back on, and your belt is back on and nice and solid. This knob here will be better if I show you from the front, so I'm just going to move the camera so you can see it easier. Okay, so this rod with the knob on the end, and this flange is for adjusting your belt from side to side. Now the kit comes with these two rods. Obviously one goes in that hole and one goes in that hole. So I called this a flange earlier. It's not a flange, it's a collar. Okay, so this is it's sort of a nut, to be quite honest, because to adjust you need to hold the rod still, turn. Oh, it's quite tight. Oh, yeah, I didn't want that to move, did I, when I tightened it up? So as I was saying, I've just loosened this off because I couldn't get to it, probably because the camera was in the way. So as it's focusing, so you just need to push this lever up anti-clockwise. Now this one here, which I'm wobbling about, is the actual adjuster to adjust the belt. It's a very fine adjustment. You don't need to move it a lot to make the belt move, and you should be doing this while it's running, but I'm just doing this to show you. So you move it up to move it one way and down to move it the other way. So, and then you just, once you've got it into the right place as it's moving, then you just tighten the collar up, and that's your adjustment done. In another video, I'll just show you how to do that in another video. So, what we're going to do, let's zoom back out again. We're now going to have a look at this side of the machine, because there's some little bits on this side of the machine that you need to see. Right, so we're on the side of the machine now, which is this cover, and I'm just going to take the cover off so you can see a few things. And to take the cover off, we need to undo these little knobs and unscrew them. So on the cover at the top, if you can read that, that's all your safety instructions. So make sure you do adhere to those. Okay, so as you can see inside where the belt goes, you've got, we're going to look at the bottom first. So this is the bar for the fingernail grinding, so you can sort of ignore that. Now in here, let me just bring you down a bit. If it's a bit of a funny angle, I do apologise. It's probably the best angle I can get. There you go. So in here we have a screw or a bolt head, and I'll see if I can get you to see the other one there. Just about. So in here we have another screw head. Now the good thing about this, I'm just going to adjust the camera so you can see a better view of this, because this is quite a good thing with this this sharpening system. Just to show you, in the kit you get given this Allen key with a round ball Allen key on the end of it. That's just used for those two screws. So I'll take you back down again just so you can see. I know it's a bit of a strange angle, but it's going to be a good angle to see what actually happens. So when we undo these screws, if they're not too tight, phew. Okay, so when we undo them, as you can see, the whole mechanism with the tool rest and the bar, can you see? I don't know if you can see the tool rest. Let me just, there you go, you can just see the tool rest at the top here. So this all moves, and that's to allow you to have the most comfortable position whilst you're sharpening your tools. Now then, when I show you the bottom, let's have a quick look, see where we are. Okay. Now this screw that's at the back here, and let me do this again just to show you. Now they stay in place, in their same place all the way down. And if I wanted it to go quite flat, as you can see, the screw ends up inside. Now, obviously the Sorby company have thought about this, and as you can see in this plate, so you don't have to take this plate off to move it, they have a little notch that they've put into the plate so that you can actually move the belt and the mechanism without having that removed, which is a really good idea. I really like that idea. So thumbs up to them for that. Now on this roller here, as you can see, there are 3 screws. Holes, I should say, not 3 screws, 3 screw holes. Those screw holes are for 2 attachments. The first attachment is for a, let me see, a buffing mop. So you can attach a buffing wheel to that part of the machine with the cover on, and I'm just going to show you a quick picture of that buffing wheel. And there you go, let me try and there you go. So that's the buffing wheel attached to the machine, so that's quite a good idea. And again, the other attachment is a honing wheel. So it's I presume it's a leather honing wheel of some sort. Oh, let me read this. It's manufactured in a rubber compound. So there you go. So that's for your, if you're honing anything that you want to, then you can use that and purchase that. And they do attach in slightly different ways. The honing wheel has a big plate with a an arbor coming off with a bolt, a nut to hold that on, and the polishing wheel has another plate with a pigtail coming off, and then you just screw the polishing mop onto the pigtail. Right, now there is what I believe, and this is my own opinion on this machine, where there I believe is a flaw, and I think that the Sorby company could improve this. When you are doing a rough grind, i.e. if you have a tool that is either really badly damaged, or a tool that you don't necessarily like the grind on it, so you need to rough grind it first to get it to the shape you want, and then do finer grinds to get your sharpness and everything. My roughest belt is a 60 grit belt, and that's for my roughing. Then I've got the 120 belt in there, and for my fine work I've got a 240 grit belt. I've also got a Trizac belt, which I'm now thinking is quite a fine belt. I think it's in the 1200 grit. I think that's from what I can remember. Sorry for not having the exact numbers on those belts. So when you're roughing, you're putting the 60 belt in just to get the form you want, and then you're having to take that off, put on another belt, take that off, put on another belt. Now, unfortunately, this plate, for its safe working, needs to be screwed on every time you use it. So if you've got one tool that you are reforming the tip, the cutting edge, or anything like that, every time you change your belt, you have to, as I'm doing now, put your belt on, screw those knobs on, do your grinding, unscrew the belt. So you can see it's a bit fiddly. Unscrewed, take that off, put your lever up, so now your belt comes floppy, put your new belt on, put it in the right position, do that up, put this on the right way, put your bolt in, when they eventually get in the right place, do them up, and now you're ready to do your next grind. Now, to me, that seems very time consuming, to be honest. It's a bit fiddly, and all you want to do is sharpen, grind, flip it down, put your new belt on, flip it back on again, grind, do your stuff, take it off again. Now, if I was in the company, I think I would put a hinge on this side and either have one of these little knobs in there, so then this can all hinge down, and I'll just show you what I mean. Now, I suppose you will say I've just spotted something that may prevent this from happening, is this bit here. If you have the attachment on for the pigtail and the honing wheel, so but I'm sure they're more than capable of coming up with an idea for that. So that would be my idea, was somehow to have a hinge there, so then that could come like that, take your belt off, and then hinge that back onto there with one securing bolt. That is really one of two negative things that I can say about this machine. It would be nice if it was easier and less time consuming in getting this protection off. But that's not bad for a machine to have maybe possibly two problems. So that's that. Right, I'd just like to say thank you for watching this video, and I'm really sorry it was quite a long video. So that was the overview of this machine. The next video is going to be about the attachments that I have got for this machine, and describing how they're used, and then subsequent videos after that is going to be actually watching how I use them to grind the grinds on your tools. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it gave you some information about how to use this, or not so much use it, but how this machine works. And if you're a first time subscriber, please subscribe, then you can see notifications of the next videos about this machine popping up, and my other work as well. So all there is to do is to say goodbye. Bye bye.